Hey guys, welcome back to Couple Chronicles with your
boy Lloyd.
and Afiya.
So we're married, but we don't always agree on everything, like most married couples or most couples, period. But we've chosen to live a life full of love,
Laughter,
and respect. So buckle up as we tackle our chronicles for this week. All right, here we go. Topic one. Should people in a relationship prioritize their goals or their relationship first?
I think you should prioritize your goals.
First?
Yeah.
Okay, explain. Why?
I think once you prioritize your goals, like, you're happy. Like, right? Like, if you're making progress towards the things that you love, I feel like you show up better in your relationship. When you feel like you're stagnant in your self-growth, you're most times unhappy in your relationship because you feel like you're not growing. You feel like, you're not moving. Make sense?
That makes sense. But I think that depends. You need two people that understand this, because there's some people that aren't happy with themselves and they seek the happiness
in their
from
relationship.
the other person.
Right.
So if you're a person, like, me, once I'm focused on a particular goal,
Yeah.
I lock in and try to get that thing. Not that I ignore you or don't, but you see me dazing off, like, when I'm pretty focused.
Right.
And the partner might feel like they're being second to the goal.
Right.
I agree with you where I do feel that, well, let me answer the question first, right? Because I didn't answer it. It's tough. But I do think at first you should prioritize your goals. I think there's seasons
where you prioritize
for everything.
Yeah.
If you're a young couple or even a couple in a time frame of your life where y'all grinding together and trying to get it,
yeah,
I always tell you, like, you focus on, like, together, we're great. Now, how Beyonce and Jay put us together, how they're going to stop both us. That's how I feel. If you focus on your goal and what you got going and what you're good at, and I focus on what I got going and I'm good at, we're going to be great. It's no way that we could fail. I always tell you that all the time.
Yeah.
Let's just focus in on that. But now, like, for instance, we're married. We have a family. We have a kid.
Right.
And we're also, we're not at the end of where we want to be. I don't think that's going to stop. But we're comfortable.
Yeah.
And I feel like that shift of, it shifts, the focus shift. Like, we focus on our family, we focus on Kyra now, not taking away from our goals. We still pushing.
Yeah.
But I think it will switch at different parts of life.
Right. And it's so funny because I've heard people say that you can have the family, the career, but oftentimes it's hard to have them at the same time.
Yeah, that's
right.
tough.
It's very hard. Like, even recently, we've been presented with the opportunity, and it's like, have another baby, take advantage of this, or take advantage of this opportunity.
I say take advantage of opportunity.
Right, exactly. So, you can definitely have both. I think having them at the same time is definitely a challenge. Oftentimes when you are killing motherhood, you feel like you're not showing up as your best self in your career, and oftentimes vice versa. Finding that balance, I feel like, is so hard. And I feel like realistically, I don't know if it ever does happen, but I feel like it feels a lot easier when, I would say my son is 3. I feel like I'm just now getting there at 3. Like, I feel like I'm just now getting to a place where I'm trying to find that balance or feeling like I have balance. I don't think I even felt that way before this age. But I feel like it's so important, to maintain a sense of self. And for me, that's grounded in your goals, right?
Your personal goals.
Right, your personal goals. Because when you get in a relationship and you get married, essentially, you do have goals as a unit. And that's so important too, because it is very important to have things that you're working on together outside of just bills and kids, right? It's important to have common goals, things that you guys are both looking forward to, areas that you're both growing in, and that you're seeking progress in as a unit. And I think that's exciting. It could be purchasing a house, like, working on real estate, starting a business. And it's beautiful, I feel like, to do those things with your partner. So you have your individual goals and then you have your goals together. I do feel like it is very scary, especially as a woman, to feel lost, right? To feel like you've lost yourself. And when I say focusing on your goals, for me comes first, because once you step into being a wife and a mother, it's so easy to lose yourself. Like, those things, they come first and they take over your life, right?
Unfortunately for women, it's no real pulling back from that. You can't really, some people do, and that's unfortunate, but you shouldn't pull back from being a mother.
Right.
Wife, not so much, but like being a parent.
Right.
You can't really pull away from that.
And it's, 18 and being a mom, it never stops, right? Even when your kids are 18, even when they're 20, showing up for them just looks different, and when you commit to becoming a mom and being a mom, it can take over, right? And it's a beautiful thing. I'm not saying that to diminish, the value of being a mom. I'm just saying it's easy to lose yourself, right? So I think, setting those goals, being clear about what those goals are, and making promises to yourself, right? Like I always say this to my friends, and I honestly say it to myself too, not even just to my friends, but it's important to make promises to yourself because we make promises to everyone else. We make promises to our job. We make promises to our kids. We make promises to our partners, but I think when you make a promise to yourself, it forces you to show up for yourself every single day. And that's so important. It's so important.
Yeah, to piggyback what you said, I'm a big believer, and I've told people this as well, that's in a relationship or thinking about getting married or just ask me questions about marriage.
Right.
And I'm a big believer in that I think one of the biggest ways to be successful or have longevity in your marriage is, like you said, is to have something together.
Yeah.
I think
it's important to have both. I think you have things together, and I think you have things that are yours.
No, that's fine. But I'm talking about as a relationship, because just as a relationship, I'm not talking about, I agree with you with goals. You should have your own personal goals. But again, things aren't always smooth sailing in a relationship, especially in a marriage, when it heightens. And I think once you build that, like I like to say, that partner, and y'all have like other things that y'all have to not necessarily worry about because it's not a distraction, but you have something else outside of that you guys are like
building
with each other.
Right.
It creates another
baby. It's another baby.
Yeah, it builds another what's the word? Connection.
Right. And it's so
that's
funny.
harder to pull away.
Right. I completely agree. And I always, like our therapist once said, you have to be careful because as the years move on and the years progress, a lot of times the only things that connect you are the kids and the bills. And so that's why, like, after the kids are gone, you're looking at this person like, who are you? Because a lot of times the only thing that kept you together and the only commonality that you guys had were, the children that you guys created together, right? So, like I said, for me, I think it's so important just have things, and I always said that whether it starts with your vision board. I write things down on my phone. I also do a vision board. But I think whether it's starting with, writing down, the Bible says write it down and make it plain, right? So I tend to a lot of times, even when I feel lost, and I might not even verbalize that to you, but writing down what I'm working on, brings me back to center, right? My mom always talks about journaling, but I just think it's so important to identify, okay, this is what I'm working on outside of the relationship, outside of, being a mom and being a wife, because you're going to have your motherly duties, you're going to have your wife duties, and you're consistently pouring into those other avenues as well. So you want to make sure that you're also pouring into yourself and what's important to you. And, it also, for me, it allows, like, you have your business, right? And as much as I'm CFO, or see, we're CEO, I'm CFO, right?
Good.
Okay, so you're CEO, I'm CFO, right? It's your business and it allows me to support you. Mm-hmm. And, I have my career and it allows you to support me and my endeavors, right? Like, and I think that's also beautiful as well. And a lot of times for me, that starts with, having those goals and figuring out, okay, what am I looking forward to in life? And that changes in each season, mm-hmm. And some seasons it is being a mom, right? It is like, I'm looking forward to being a mom and that's a beautiful season. But it's okay to also shift and say, in this new season, here are some of the things that I'm looking forward to and not feel guilty about it, right?
I think also too, like part of that is couples being able to identify a particular thing that they're both excited about too, that they can work together. For us,
it's money. My husband,
for us,
it's money.
Fortunately, it's business.
Yeah, he like money. I like money too. So that commonality for most time, we like business.
We like business. It don't always have to be business and money. It could be something else. But for us, it happens to be businesses creating businesses and ways to find money. We We trade together.
Yeah.
We try to find businesses together that we could do together. Like
I asked him if he wanted to open a car wash recently. I did. And then we went to the car wash, and as we're in the car wash, he says, "Didn't you just ask me to open a car wash?" And I'm like, "Sure did. Taking notes." Like, and it all stemmed from who did it? Jason Derulo, right? Yeah. Like Jason Derulo did an interview recently where he said he makes more money from his car wash than he does from his music.
I thought it's a regular car wash.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
that's what he said too.
Yeah, I thought it's a regular.
He's like,
car
it has
wash,
lights. It's a whole experience.
Sure. It's a whole experience.
So the last car wash we went to, I was like, "Oh, we should make this like." I was taking notes. I swear, I was.
He lives in LA, right?
I don't know where Jason Derulo lives.
Oh yeah, I don't really know, but like, there's different levels of car washes too. Like I feel like here in New York, the car washes are trash.
Yeah,
like,
but
in Miami,
we could start a car wash. That's amazing. Maybe that's a need, right?
I think just because it's season, because like, especially wintertime, it snows. Right. People don't care about their car. I care about my car. I'm gonna I pay monthly to get my car washed. As much times as I want. But anyway, that was a good one. So important, guys. Find something. It's going to help you in your relationship. I promise you. Come back and tell me what you guys did. Come on, round 2.
Okay. What's a bigger issue? Men that aren't equipped to handle a strong woman or women who can't submit to men?
I love that question. I think it's a good one. And we definitely, that's why we're talking about it, right? But I love the question in itself. What's the bigger issue? Because I think both are big issues in relationship, right? I'm gonna go ahead and say most people I think men gonna say women that can't submit to men, which is a big issue. But I'm gonna go on the opposite end of my bros out there, mainly because I stick to I stand by what I say all the time. I love strong women.
Right.
So, but I think a big issue is that men have a bunch of ego and they're not equipped to handle strong women. Right. I think a lot of men get intimidated by strong women.
Oh, absolutely.
I think a lot of men.
We've had mutual friends straight up say they don't want a strong woman. Like, I'm like, hello.
I remember one of our earlier podcasts, this guy, I think we mentioned it before, it was like, oh, she seems like she is hard or something, or it wasn't dominant. It was like mannish kind of. I forgot the verb. And I was like, no,
aggressive?
Something like that. I was like, don't confuse my wife's strength or, with her being mannish. She's just strong.
Did you say mannish? And shout out to everybody that follows me that jumped on his neck.
I forgot what the actual term was, but it was like not in your femininity, just to round it up. But I was like, no, she's strong. I love strong women. That's why that's why I'm with you.
Yeah.
But I think that's the bigger issue. And what we men, I'm gonna talk to you guys, need to understand is that, first of all, we're not a perfect people,
right? And
having a strong woman doesn't make you a weak man. That like we need to understand that if you choose the right person, that your strong woman wants to see the best of you, right?
Right.
And what she can add and complement to your life, even if she has to take the lead in a particular part of your life, isn't a bad thing. I think that it shows more strength to be able to allow you to help me in a place where I'm not my strongest F, than to push back and fight you. I think that shows more weakness than strength.
I think the reason why men are intimidated by strong women is simply because it points out their insecurities, right? Like it's I think for me, it's definitely more than just ego. I think the reason that their ego is at an all-time high is because they don't want anyone, whether it's another woman, another man, society, to see what makes them feel small, right? And so a lot of times, they don't, whether that's strength verbally, right? Emotionally, whether that's financially, whether that's, in any aspect, it could be spiritually, right? Like wherever that strength lies, it allows them to see a mirror, to see the reflection of themselves. And a lot of times they don't like what they see back, right? What's looking back at them. And I remember we were watching Reasonable Doubt, and the lawyer, he said, the reason why I didn't like you was because you saw me, and sometimes I don't want to be seen. Now, granted, he was a narcissist, right? Very clear. But I thought that statement was so powerful because he was able to acknowledge, I don't always like what I see back, right? And I don't want other people to see that. And the fact that you see me is the issue that I have with you. So a lot of times, and I've come to this realization myself, that a lot of times things don't have anything to do with me. It has everything to do with the person, right? And kind of just identifying that brings me peace, because I feel like even me, because I am a strong woman, interactions that I've had with people in my life. It could be friends, it could be teachers, it could be agents, it could be people that I come across, right? And they feel intimidated. And I mean, I'm tall, but I'm not that tall, right? And so trying to figure out where that intimidation lies, it lies in my strength, right? And realizing that insecurity lies on them. It has nothing to do with me, and to continue to walk in my strength, right?
So to be clear,
right.
Which one is the deeper problem? For you.
For me?
Yeah, I mean, we agreed that they're both problems.
Right.
But what do you think is the bigger issue?
It's definitely men.
Definitely. I would expect you to say that.
Yeah,
I don't expect you to say.
I feel like women have an issue. Women that have an issue submitting to men, it's not because they don't want to be in their soft era, right? It's because a man doesn't make them feel safe enough to be in their soft era, right? Mm-hmm. Like, they don't want to be man, woman, mommy, chef, maid. They don't want it friend, playmate to the kid. Like, they don't want to do all of that, right? They want to be submissive. They want to be in their soft era at times. Even in their strength, they want to be submissive sometimes, right? And that's a beautiful thing. But I think that women that have an issue submitting, it's because it's behind a man that does not lead, and that they don't feel safe and trusting him to lead. And a lot of times that's grounded in his actions, right? Like, if you're not leading, if you're not giving me anything to follow, like, where are we going, right? Like, I'm not following behind somebody that's putting me in the garbage bin or
I would tell you, don't follow me off a cliff.
Yeah, it's like,
point it out. Show me the cliff is ahead so we could turn. I don't want to.
He always says that.
Don't just say yes to me and we both fall off a cliff.
Yes, and now we, absolutely not. So, I think, like I said, I genuinely think most women, I want to submit, right? Like, even in my strength, I want you to lead, right? And I think most women do. But I think you have to show me that you can lead. And that could be a leader as the head of the household. And that could be as a father, as a provider. Like, show me, okay.
It's tough. I think, and I love when this happens. Like, this brings so much, so thought-provoking, right? I think the time right now, like, we're in, this era that we're in, we're finding less and less women that want to be or feel like they can be submissive to men because of just the world that we live in, right? You have, first and foremost, and I thought about this while you was talking, like, you have a lot of couples that are in competition with each other, right?
Oh my gosh! And what did I say when we first started?
I get it.
When we first started dating, my husband said to me, "Oh, we should compete. We should do a little competition. Who can make the most money?" And I stopped him. This is before we were engaged, before we were married, before, I will never forget. Like, this was the early days of our relationship, and I said to him, I never want to be in competition with you. I never want to feel like I'm competing with you. And if that's what you're looking for, I'm not the person for you.
Let me clear it up. And I tried to clear it up for her already. But, so, when we first started dating, one of the first goals, I gave her was to save $100,000. Not make, save $100,000 in a year, right? So me saying the competition thing was just like a incentive for both of us to grind. It wasn't on a, let's see who make more money so we could puff our chest at the end of the year. It was more of a catalyst to light the fire under your butt to be like, okay, let's go get it. But I understand your point. But it wasn't meant to be like necessarily a competition. It was more so to help with the fire. That's how I. But
I think you can fuel the catalyst without in other ways, right? And especially in healthy ways, because that, like, we're not. I'm not your basketball teammate, or I'm not the opponent, right? Mm-hmm. We're on the same team, mm-hmm. right? So I think even creating that culture of competition in your relationship, like, it doesn't, for me, it doesn't feel like a place of safety.
Got you.
Right? Like, I want to feel like whether I saved that $100,000 or not, that you got me. Now, I did. Let's be clear. Your girl's got it.
I think she was a little short. I think she was like 90-something. I think he was like at 90-something. I don't think he got there, but it was the journey to the 100. It was the journey to the 100,000.
I had to check him right quick. That's how you do it.
But anyway, going back to that most couples are in competition.
Yeah.
And
it's just not a good space to be in. Like, I don't want to be in competition with my man. Like, no. Like, I want to feel like you're my safe haven. You're my place of feeling safe. Like, I want to feel like, because there's different seasons, right? And I remember having this conversation with another model, and at the time, like, she was a well-known model, and her boyfriend at the time, now her husband, didn't make as much as her. And this was a much younger Afiya. I didn't understand that dynamic. And she said to me, well, Afiya, in certain seasons, he could very much make more than I can, right? And so I didn't understand that. And so just, being in a relationship where you feel safe, whether I'm making more than you this season or vice versa, it's important to know that we're still here. Like, you know what I mean? Because those seasons, like, before I was a mom, or before I took 2 years off, it's like, okay, I could have been making $500K. Now I'm pregnant, I'm out of a job, you know what I mean? And now it's like, damn, where'd the money go? My whole life stopped, right? And so, but for me, it's knowing that my husband is still here, whether I have that 100,000 on hand or not, is what I'm saying, right? And for me, that's why the competition, like the nature of the competition and competing with your partner, in my opinion, is not a safe space.
Yeah, I just think that we're in an era now where women are more vocal, they're more...
and women are in their bags. Let's be clear.
That's what I mean. Yeah, they're more assertive.
Social media with Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Women are realizing that they're in their boss era, and I think it's beautiful. Like, even the girls out here getting their bodies done, it's giving them that confidence, that chip on their shoulder, right? Where it's like they're showing up, or they want to show up as their best selves, and I think that's beautiful. I think it's necessary, and it's not meant to intimidate men. It's not meant, for a man to feel small or to feel like, she's not going to be submissive to me. No, but it's important, that we show up at our best.
I agree with you. I love strong women. Like I said, I love strong women. No quarrel there.
Yeah.
I just think we're gonna find more of those situations where women aren't submitting to men just because of the dynamic of the culture of this world that we're dealing with now. Yeah, I think it's more women on social media speaking and praising other women. Oh, you don't need a man.
Really? You think so?
Yes, there's a lot of that.
I beg to differ.
Okay.
I beg to differ because I feel like, and maybe the culture is not just on social media. Maybe it's more of an in-person interaction, because I feel like most times when I meet somebody, they either
somebody whom
like
what?
Other women,
okay,
right? Like, I feel like they most times either have questions about my career or about my relationship. Those two things, or about being a mom.
Okay,
those three things. Excuse me. But these days, I just turned 30, everyone. So like now, I feel like relationship is leading. Like,
questions.
Yes, so I feel like, for me, I feel like most women, they want to find a partner. They want to find a husband. They do want to find somebody that they can submit to. Even women that are strong, and women that do have careers, and women that are successful. And I know several, like, even just sitting here thinking about it, like, I don't think that just because women are in their entrepreneurial boss era that it takes away, their desire to be a wife, or their desire to submit, or their desire to be a mom, and that desire to have a partner that meets them halfway, right?
I'm trying to find a thing like who makes more money now, men or women, just overall. I think it's women, right? Women earn still the other way around. Just trying to see why, because I think for a lot of women, it comes down to finances.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
I'm gonna only talk about, unfortunately, right, in our community, the Black community, right. I'm gonna talk about that specifically because I don't think it's that way in the white community or in a lot of other communities,
right,
where I feel like Black women are making more than Black men.
Right.
I think that's the thing, and I think that's where. Twofold. That's where women have an issue with submitting, and that's where men see their insecurities because they're not coming correct or as they And the rarity where you can find a woman that I'm not saying women, guys, look for potential, right? Or not, or settling, because that's the other thing that they say. I'm not settling for somebody that's been. Why can't I get the put together man that's already there already, right? But understanding that, let's say you make $20,000 more a year than me, that doesn't take away from me being a man or my ability to lead, and still allowing me to lead in that way, regardless of the financial gap.
Right.
And I think that's the root of the real problem, is that financial gap.
So I agree with you, right? However, I do feel like it's funny. We were having this conversation previously. Mm-hmm. It depends on how big that gap is, right? Mm-hmm. Because if you're talking a $30,000 gap, fine. But I think if we're talking a $500,000 gap, right? Now you're talking about the difference between us vacationing in Orlando and us vacationing in Capri, right? Like now it's different between us having a $15,000 vacation and vacationing for 3 weeks to a month and us vacationing for 4 days, right? And women have a problem with that. And a lot of times that's why they might come to the dating scene or the relationship, trying to figure out how much the man makes, because it's like they know, and assuming they're able to sustain their own lifestyle and the things that they want, right? They know what they're looking for, and they want a partner that's going to match where they are and that they can share these experiences together.
And also that comes with that you are able to do these things for yourself as well. Right. Just looking for
somebody else to do them for
that
you.
Could create this lifestyle.
Right.
And again, that's all fine. I'm a person. Go get your bag, however you're going to get it.
Right.
But that's the reason why the pushback from the men is like, do you do these things for yourself?
Right.
Also, you want me to provide these things for you?
Yeah.
And if you can, it's all good in there. But let us know what you think. I think it's going to be 50-50. I think we're going to hear the men say women can't submit. And I think we're going to hear the women say, these weak-ass men.
And I was
these fragile-ass men.
I was going to say that, but he said it and not me. Because I feel like if I said it was like when he asked me, tell me how you really feel. And I was
like, they come for me, man. Look, this is why we have this. I want an open forum. Tell me what you feel freely. Tell me what you feel freely. I don't really mind. All right, let's move on. Oh, this is a spicy one that's, I feel like on every channel or every conversation, every person's tongue at the moment. Is there a price limit on first dates? If a man goes on a date with a woman and she over orders like the normal quantity of food, how should the man react? How should the woman react if he doesn't want to pay?
It depends on who you're going to date
with.
Let
me hear it. Run it. It's a loaded question, but go ahead.
It depends. It depends on who you're going on a date with. If you're going on a date with a 9-to-5 guy, a guy that goes to work every day and pays his, normal rent and has normal bills, and he's,
I give you the right to that. So
no.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm just saying, if you are dating a blue collar man, nothing wrong with a blue collar man. My daddy was a blue collar man, is a blue collar man, excuse me. I think you should be cautious of how much you potentially spend on the first date, right?
I can see this one going already.
However, if you're on a date with a multi-millionaire, a millionaire, a billionaire,
run up the tab?
No. I'm not saying run up the tab. I'm just saying you can order a lobster. You can order a steak and lobster. You can order caviar. You can order, he might run out the entire restaurant for you. It just might be you two. You might have a private chef. The experience might be different than, not better or worse, just different than if you were dating a man that you thought you might have to be cautious of how much you spend when you're ordering.
All right. So we're talking first date here. Should there be a limit?
I don't necessarily. Okay, wait.
Ooh, she don't want to say the wrong thing.
No, it's not. They're
gonna come regardless.
It's not necessarily. Okay. I think if you're dating a blue collar man, right?
So it depends on. Okay.
Yes, I think if you're dating a blue collar man, where that you should be a lot more aware and cautious, right? For sure. I think if you're dating a millionaire, if you're dating a billionaire, if you're dating someone that has it and money is not a question, I feel like you can let your hair down and feel free to offer without looking at the price, because we've been to certain restaurants where it's expensive, right? And I'm like, damn, it's expensive, but I know he got it. So it's just like, okay, I can order it. But, if I'm at dinner with somebody else, like my daddy, right? I'm like, I'm not gonna order that. Like, I'm not. I'm like, oh no.
So I think, right? I think I can't say that there's a price limit, right? But let's just rewind, right? Let's break this down in a system, right? And I just thought about this, right? I love it. If I ask a young lady on a date, right, and I choose the restaurant, I should know what the price of this restaurant is.
Right.
And I should be prepared for that, right?
So, that's true.
Right?
So it starts with the guy. That's a good point.
It starts with the date.
That means there shouldn't be a price limit. That means there shouldn't be a price limit.
I'm just saying.
Because if the guy picked the restaurant, that means he's aware.
I should be able to afford
the price. Right. Okay. That's good.
Assuming if they're a smart intellectual guy.
Right.
Let's just say this young man is nervous. He really likes you and wants to impress you.
Right.
Now, let's just say the guy who's not rich, but he's not poor either.
Yeah.
The in-between guy, right? But he wants to make a good impression.
Right.
So he takes you to, I don't know, what's a good restaurant? Let's say let's go sushi, right? You like sushi and we go to Nobu, right?
Right.
And we order some sushi. So now I know.
Run up the tab.
No, I know. So now listen. So now that's my point. That's why I said Nobu, right? So if I know you like sushi, so I'm gonna take you to a nice sushi restaurant.
Right.
So I know these rolls could run me 50, 60, and sometimes even more than that, right? So I'm like, okay, she can order like two rolls. That's $120. We in New York. If we're in New York, a couple drinks, let's say 3 drinks. She like to drink. She don't want to be too drunk because she don't want me to, she don't know where they're going to lead. Let's say $25 New York, $23 typically, but let's say $25. Let's round it off. So now her side of her meal is already like $225, right? And now I have to eat, right? So in my head, if I take you to Nobu and I know you like sushi, I'm expecting to spend $500. That's my logic. If I can't afford that, we got to pick another place, right?
And I'm so good you're saying this instead of me. Because if I said $500 for a first date, I feel like we would have a lot of issues.
But that's me now, right? That's me now. That's the place that I'm in now.
I was going to say 500. But then I'm like, I feel like there's a lot of guys that would have a big issue with me saying 500.
I think so too.
I know. So I'm like, you know what?
And I think that's a lot for a first date as well. But that's the place I'm at now. And that's my point, where it starts with the guy. Now, if I'm not in that place, our first date might be, I'm going to just say this because it's another...
Cheesecake Factory. I was going to say that.
I'm going to just say that just because that's the thing. We go to Cheesecake Factory all the time. If we go to the mall and there's Cheesecake Factory there, we go to the mall and go to Cheesecake as well. But we also, we like to eat. I've grown to like enjoy
good food, good
restaurants. So I don't mind spending money on food at all. I don't really care. But that's where I'm at now. But now, if you go to Nobu and there's what's that expensive sushi at Nobu? The $500 sushi.
I don't know.
You went there. You went out with some girls.
I remember.
It was
awkward.
Yeah, it was like
awkward because they ordered it and then the bill came and they was looking left and right and I was like, yeah, see.
So now if I take you on my first date and you order 2 $500 sushi rolls, I'm gonna think you ODing.
Yeah.
Maybe if I'm a millionaire, not.
Yeah.
But a regular first date, even for a person that's 6 figures, mid 6 figures.
Yeah.
I still think you run up the top. Like, our dinners shouldn't be, unless it's a celebration, and that's a first date, shouldn't be like $2,000.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And again, we haven't been on a date that's, I think the most our bill has been for just 2 of us is like $600. I forgot where we was at. But our bill was like $600. I was like, damn, it's just 2 of us.
Yeah.
And I was fine with that. But
it was Valentine's Day.
It was at whatever that place called. It was good food too.
Fish and Hunt Club.
Fish and Hunt Club.
And that day we saw Meg and her boyfriend there too.
It was good food. I enjoyed the food, so I had no problem paying it.
That shit wasn't.
But on a first date though, I think there should be a level of respect.
I know our producer over there like, bitch, we could go for pizza. Like, I know he over there.
I think it's a level of respect.
And a drink. I know he over there.
I think it's a level of respect thing. I think you have to be respectful of the person, finances, and understanding. You chose to go on a date with this man. You kind of understand. People be flogging too, man. People be like, I got it. And then
listen, you have to be careful too, because honestly, one of my good friends, she went on a date with a man that was trying to impress her, and baby, he did not eat. He did not eat. He
wasn't hungry.
He sat there and watched her eat. Exactly. So you have to be careful with trying to impress women on the first date because it could go very left very quickly and very awkward because now he's sitting there, she's looking at him, he's looking at her, and she's trying to figure out why he's not eating.
And one of the other problems is that, I won't even say a lot of women, but I've heard, women will go on dates with people that they're not interested in.
Just for the meal.
Just to get
I think that's a new day and
That's
age.
a new thing.
I think because when I was dating, I never did that. So I can only speak from my personal experience, and I've never done that. So like for the women that are out here doing that, don't do that. If you don't like him, don't do that.
I'm bored home. Let me just go get some food and some drinks and run up the tab.
I think that's and it is disrespectful. And I also think I just don't know women that do that. Personally, my friends don't do that, so I'm not saying people don't do it, but I'm
sure you have some friends that I can think of a couple.
No, all my friends can afford their own.
Oh, that is not about they can't afford it. They want to spend the guy money. They want to eat on a free dime. I mean, I'm making it sound worse than it is. I'm making it sound, but like, it is what I remember when we first started dating. She don't remember this, right? But I remember when we first started dating. All our dinners was like $300-$400.
They were, and now
when we first started, I wasn't even there yet.
Yeah,
but I was still doing it.
And now I'm good with wings on the couch and come watch Friends with me. It balances out eventually.
I was like, yo, who's this new person? I forgot. Like, all our dates was like $300-$400.
He also said that when it came down to his t-shirts, he would be like, "Damn, I'm really spending $300-$400 on a t-shirt." He said, "I used to buy the t-shirts from the gas station." I'm like, it was so funny. Like times have changed.
So let's go. We have like three parts of that question. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Okay, we have 3 parts of that question, right? So we agree that. Well, you said it depends on.
I think
it depends. Definitely.
It depends on the class of the man because
I think that shouldn't matter.
No, it does. And I also know women transparently. Like I have some friends where, like I have a friend. She literally just posted this on social media. And she was just like, I'm the type of person where if you're inviting me out to eat, know that I love to eat. So she's like, and I want to experience the food at the restaurant. She's like, I'm talking 2 to 3. No, but she has an amazing job. She can afford her own meal. Like she just likes going out to eat is a love language, right? So she's like, I want to order 2 to 3 appetizers, 2 entrees, and a dessert, right? Let's just say hypothetically. But think that could be just 3, depending on the restaurant, 2 entrees, 3 appetizers, like that could easily.
Yeah, that's like $300.
So you understand what I'm saying? But she can do that for herself. So now she wants to go on a date with a guy that's fully aware. Hey, listen, I love great restaurants. Going out to eat is my love language, and I don't want to be uncomfortable at the restaurant being like, oh, I can't order this and can't order that because of who I'm on the date with, right? So I do think it matters. I do think the tax bracket of the person that you're at the dinner table with matters. If you know he ain't got it,
then be respectful.
Be respectful. Keep it cute.
You're one of the ones that, if that's how I would say you don't. Yeah, I would say you're that person. For sure. I would say that you're that person for sure. But so now we there, right? Now we at the restaurant. And I'm gonna take it from the man perspective now. And you running up the tab, and I'm starting to like, oh my God, how much food?
Like she's
how much food she gonna eat? Like that tab, I'm looking at the front, like that tab running out, right? So now the bill comes.
Now you awkward. It's a cup. You sweating. She want to know why you're not talking.
Let's say it's OD, right? Let's say it's some crazy. Like let's say it's close to like let's say $800.
Okay, I was gonna say 1,000.
Yeah, I was gonna say 1,000, but like you gotta really like you ordering champagne. You ordering bottles of champagne or something at that point.
Yeah, like a bottle of wine.
Depends on the restaurant. 2 bottles of wine that you run into.
Or a bottle of wine. I feel like 1 bottle of wine is appropriate. So like say a bottle of wine.
So let's say you ordering bottles of wine. Because you like wine.
Okay.
So now the bill is like $800.
And a bottle of wine could be 4 glasses, so 2 glasses each.
No, you easily could run them. Easily.
Okay.
I'm not saying that that's the problem.
So let's say that bottle was $200, but okay.
Exactly. So now we at 800, let's say 800 to 1,000. I wasn't prepared to pay 800 and 1,000. I might not even have it, to be honest with you. I might have came out with $500. But now the bill is like $800 to $1,000.
Right.
I'm angry.
Angry?
Well, first of all, I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed because I can't afford this shit.
Yeah.
Am I wrong for being angry? Am I wrong now for asking you to help me with the bill or we splitting the bill? First of all, I might not even have it. If I came out on a date, first of all, you shouldn't be dating if you can't. If it's cutting into your damn, stay home.
Yeah.
Watch Netflix and chill. Take a walk in the park, like my producer likes to say.
Don't let these niggas Netflix and chill you. Don't let these men Netflix and chill you.
Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
Oh, for asking her to go Dutch?
Yes, because now it's like you privy me to this new word. I don't know if that's a thing. Go Dutch. I never heard that before, but I'm gonna take your.
You're asking me?
Yes.
Go Dutch?
Am I wrong? And how do you feel if I do ask you? I'm asking you. I want your honest opinion. So now the bill is $800, $900. I'm like, yo, I got $500 on it. Can you cover the rest? Or because I feel like you ODing. You don't order 2 bottles of wine. You don't order 4 appetizers, 5 drinks, steak, and the lobster mac and cheese.
Maybe you was gonna get some ass at the end of it. Like,
that's what it is, and I still think the guy's upset.
I know my producer over there like ass is way cheaper. No way.
So how should I act? Am I right for being angry? Should I feel angry? Should I feel a way that you just ran up the tab on me?
Okay, first of all, everybody's experience is different. Like I said, for me or one of my friends or women that I know, she might not have thought she was ODing. She might have just, we're having a good time, we're vibing, we're drinking wine. You know, she really may have just been vibing, right? It could have been an expensive restaurant. You picked the restaurant, right? So like you're going in there, worst case scenario, this is how much the bill is gonna cost. You know, y'all vibing, y'all enjoying your time. Like, you know, I think to get angry is immature. I think asking her to go Dutch, you know, it might be the last date, you know, but I think if you really don't have it,
See, that's why the men don't want to pay.
No. But we already agreed that
it might be the last date regardless.
We already agreed that $1,000 for a bill is high, right? So if you don't have it and she likes you, sure. Like if I was in the situation, I would just pay it, right? Like if you're like, hey, I got 5 and the bill was $800, right? So I'm putting up 3, even if it was 1,000, right? Like I'm not gonna leave you hanging. Like that's awkward and
I think
it's
the
awkward.
majority of women these days.
Really?
Yeah, they're like, tough luck, buddy.
Really? Okay.
Ask your mama to sell you some money. Ask your homie to come.
I mean, that's true.
And
I mean, he could.
And you're gonna be on Instagram,
right? No, for sure.
On the drive home.
I do think. You know, if I was a man, so you're asking me a 2-part question. How I would handle it is I would just pay, right? I would just go half with you. Like I'll like maybe he don't got it, whatever, right? On the flip side, if I was a man, you just pointed out a good point. You could just Zell your homie, Zell your mama, ask your mama to Zell you. Like there's so many avenues that when you were sitting there, there's a few text messages that you could have sent along the way to avoid asking me to go half with you. You also could have did half debit, half credit. So even if you didn't have the other half, there were so many things that could have happened before you asked me to go Dutch with you.
One other point. I could have asked you to stop ordering so much damn food.
No. Also immature.
What? I think maturity is realizing that you don't have enough money for this bill and asking you to pump brakes on what you're ordering. That's real maturity. Before I run up, my mom always said, when I was younger, come to me first before you get yourself in deeper and I got to pay more money to help you.
Yeah,
come to me with the first problem.
Yeah,
I can afford the first problem.
Yeah.
I remember one time, right? This is a true story. I let my car get repoed one time, right? And I'm like, this is me hustling, trying to like, and I'm purposely not paying. I'm taking my money and doing other stuff. And repo man came to my house and found the car and took my car, right? I got it back the next day, but I had to phone mommy. This is like when I was in my younger age. And I'm like, Mom, my car got repoed. First thing she said, I said, why didn't you come to me when you couldn't pay the car note?
Because now I
gotta pay 4 car notes to get your car back. Just come to me. And we could take care of it then before it costs me more. So, what if I came to you and be like, hey, you ordering too much food. I only got 500. We should like slow down.
So, okay. That's funny. I mean, that's funny.
That's the grown adult thing to do, really.
It is. And it would have been like an eye-opener that even if I didn't know your financial state, or even that you were a blue-collar man, you saying that to me in that moment, I would have now realized he's a blue-collar man after this.
And he's responsible.
And he's responsible. No, for sure. You're right. I think so, but it's awkward.
It is awkward, embarrassing. It's a lot of uncomfortable.
It is. It's uncomfortable. Imagine mid-date, you're like, yo, I only got 5. Can you chill? Like, that's definitely awkward.
500 is more than enough for a date,
Yeah,
guys. I'm not,
absolutely.
And ladies, 500 is more than enough for a date. But if you could afford to do more, these days I don't care.
Yeah.
I go out to eat, and I think we've been ordering more food than we need. I've been ODing actually.
Yeah.
I ordered we went to breakfast the other day, and I ordered 7 different things and went home and packed up half of it. I'm like, why am I ODing?
He did.
Yeah, I'm
glad you know it's not me.
Yeah, it's not her. It's definitely me.
I order coffee and an entree.
It's definitely
and I'm not
me.
even a heavy drinker.
And I'm a drinker, so the tab is already $100, $200 off a drink.
I order one drink and an entree, maybe an appetizer. It is definitely him, not me. Okay, before y'all come for me about this $500 date. But I don't know. Like you said, I do think it is mature to, realize in that moment. But you could text your friend, because you've had friends text you, hey, can you sell me $20 for a haircut?
Long time ago. I had to think of which friends. I need to think of which friends. I'm like, wait, what?
All your friends that be asking, first off, stop asking my husband for money. Number 2, all your friends that ask you for money, you better shoot them a text asking them for that same money before you ask me to go Dutch. That's a fact. Before you ask me to go Dutch, ask them for that money back.
God loves a cheerful giver.
Nah.
Guys. I'm a cheerful giver. That's why I'm blessed and highly favored.
Stop asking my husband.
Blessed and highly favored. Anyway, let us know what you think. I think this is gonna be one of our reels for sure. I think this gonna go viral as well. Let me know how you feel, and let us know your experience. We want to hear all your experiences about bad dates.
Yes, I want to hear a bad date.
Both sides. Men when the women ran up the tab on you, or men when the guy. I'm sure it happens. I'm sure it happens. And women, how you reacted to that situation? You just left them there.
That never happened to me. Let me think. No, that never happened to me.
No, you did a certain type of man. I don't know.
I know, that never happened to me. Where the guy was like, "Can you go Dutch?"
No, not only Dutch, but what if he can't? Again, that's the responsible thing to do.
Or can't pay the bill, or
can't afford the bill, and just is like, this is too much. Like,
who does that? Pay people.
Be like, yo, go half for me. Like,
yeah, but it's better to say go half for me. Then, first of all, this all starts in the planning of the date. You're right.
I think so. I think
it's no way she could go to Cheesecake Factory and run up $1,000 tab. You cannot run up $1,000 tab at Cheesecake Factory. And yes, Cheesecake Factory is still a date.
I think so too.
And so is pizza.
And that still could be $100 at Cheesecake Factory.
But $100 is fine. Listen, I feel like you should at least calculate, okay, 2 appetizers. Let's do 2.5 entrees, just in case, right? Because sometimes those people be like, oh, okay, I want to try some of what you got. You want to try what I have. We want to try something else. So let's say, worst came to worst, 3 entrees and a dessert, 2 desserts. She might want her own dessert. You want your own dessert. So let's tally that up before you get to the restaurant to avoid embarrassment, because it's awkward.
Cheat code, fellas. When they picking a restaurant, if you want to keep the bill low, right? Find a restaurant that have the entree that come with sides. If you go to a restaurant where the sides
a la carte.
don't come with the
you messed up.
Yeah, you already messed up.
Yeah, pick another restaurant. Yeah, don't go to a restaurant where it's a la carte.
Even now, we go out to eat. She's like, what does this come with? I shake my head, it don't come with nothing. She's like, what does this come with? I'm like, it don't come with nothing. See? She's like, okay, let me get that. I'm like, man, order. I want the mac and cheese, the spinach, the everything. I want all those. And then I forgot what's good or not, but that's funny.
I didn't do it. And it's not me, it's him.
All right, let's get back on a serious note.
Okay.
Last one.
How do relationships work through change and growth?
And I think this is probably the most important topic of the day. Because this is so relevant and so important to understand to have a long-lasting relationship, right? I think the first thing we have to realize is that
people change.
People change and people grow.
Yeah.
The person that you marry, the person that you went on date 1 with, isn't the same person that you're on date 50 with.
Yeah.
Different life experiences, different things happen, personal, in relationships. A lot of things happen where a person changes, right? I first think you have to understand, that's the same. You have to understand that people change. If you're not willing to do the work it takes to endure that change or accept that change, it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
You have to have a level of compassion.
Yeah.
you have to have a level. Your love have to be at an all-time high.
Yeah.
Your care for that person and willingness to make this relationship work has to be at an all-time high.
Yeah.
Because people change. Just a simple fact. It could be anything. And sometimes they might change. I don't want to say that they completely change into a person that you don't like, but they might change a particular part of them that you don't necessarily agree with.
Yeah.
But you have to understand to love them through that. Again, I know that I know you're gonna say some stuff. There's some changes that's not workable, unfortunately, depending on your line.
Right.
And that's tough. That's really the tough ones. That's hard to overcome.
Yeah.
But I think I always say that, and I'll let you go. In order for a relationship to work, any relationship, and that's length, whether you want to marry or not, is you have to have two people that want the relationship to work.
Right. I agree.
I think if two people want a relationship to work, it will work.
Right.
It's a tough one. It's a real tough one.
It's hard because
serious.
He knows how I feel about this. And he also knows that I'm a big person on compromise. I feel like this is one of those things that compromise only takes you but so far. Because as much as I believe in marriage, I feel like, in my opinion, next to money, one of the main reasons that people get divorced is because people change. And who they change into, sometimes you don't like that person, you don't love that person, you don't even recognize that person, right? Let alone to commit your entire life to that person. And you just hope that who they change into, that you still love that person, or you can fall in love with that person. And sometimes that happens and sometimes that doesn't. And I think it's also the basis and the grounding for when people say you grow apart.
And that happens. That happens a lot. I'm a believer. People sometimes do just grow apart.
Yeah. But I think, like he said, like at the end of the day, you have to want to be there. You have to want to make it work. But I also say that takes two. Like, just like therapy, I feel like you both have to show up. You both have to do the work. It's another one of those things where it's like you can't be doing the work and the other person is not. Same thing here. If you change or adapt certain habits or certain things that, like, I am not fond of, you have to meet me at least halfway. You have to hear me and understand, okay, well, why doesn't she like these things? Why doesn't he like these things, right? Like, are these changes who I'm becoming and who I am? And I think that's a hard reality, hard truth, right? Like, we've had these conversations. For anybody that doesn't know, my husband likes to play poker, and it's not something that I am fond of, right? And it's not necessarily, it's a lot, right? It's the idea that it's gambling. It's like the root of something so much bigger. It's the time. I don't know if anybody has played poker, but it is not a 5-hour game. It is a 12-hour game. It is like, what time is it, right? So, there's so many bigger things to it than that. But I think whether it's poker, sometimes people pick up smoking, right? We spoke about this. Like, if I pick up smoking, I'm talking cigarettes, right? For anybody that smokes, you know that nicotine lies in your clothes. It's in your hair. It's in your bed. Like, smoking is not just a habit. It's almost a lifestyle now. It's something that you've picked up that is now embedded in your everyday life. What if you despise smoking, right? Same thing with weed, right? What if you're like, okay, I start smoking weed, but now it goes from sometimes I smoke weed occasionally to I smoke weed every day. And it's a part of my everyday routine. Now, you smell like weed. You walking in the house, you smell like bud, right? That's unattractive. Not only that, but sometimes when you become a weed head, it affects your dendrites. It affects how you process, how you think. It affects your social skills. It affects your productivity, right? Like, sometimes picking up habits, right, that you're not, are you rigid with these changes, right? This is who I am now. This is what I want to do. Take it or leave it. That's how you end up single. In my opinion, right? So I do think that although people change, there's understanding, there's compromise there, but I think you have to hear your partner. You have to understand, okay, what is it about these changes or these new habits that doesn't sit right with your partner? is there room for us to stay married or stay together within these changes? Sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. I have a good friend of mine. I remember her telling me that her boss, she was in a long-term relationship, thought she was going to marry this man. And he ended up he was already Muslim. But as you know, there's different types, of Muslims. There's the more strict. I'm not Muslim, I'm Christian. So I don't, if I'm misspeaking, I apologize. But I guess just like you have Hasidic Jews, you have Jews and you have Hasidic Jews. There's different levels, right? And so he became...
different religions, different.
Right. And so he became more strict in how he lived his life, but not only that, how he wanted his woman to live, right? And at this time, they were not married. They were just dating and for years, like over a decade. And now he came to the realization that I want you to wear the hijab.
So is that one of those things you have to walk out?
They did. They broke up. He now realized that what he wanted, how he wanted to live his life, how he wanted his wife to carry himself, like how he wanted the mother of his children to carry himself, that did not align with the person that she was. So although this is a life change, this is like his spiritual being, the man that he is, the man that he has become, his walk with faith has now got him to this place, right? And now he's looking at this woman that he loves and saying, well, it's either you adapt and change with me or we part ways. And that's one of that's one of the ways that, change, it doesn't work. Sometimes it does, right? You hope that it does. You pray that it does, because sometimes you do love the person so much. But what happens when who the person changes into, it just doesn't align or just doesn't work, right? I don't know if compromise is always the answer in that way.
No, I agree. I think sometimes, like you said, it doesn't work. And I do, it wasn't a two-part question, but I used two specific words, right? I said, how do relationships work through change and growth? And understand that's two different things, right? Because a change could be, you wear weave and now you want to be natural, right? It could be growth too. But
right.
Imagine growth, like something like, when we were in college, we both, let's say we were into games and we were gamers.
Yeah.
But as we grew, as we learned, now you started fancying business. Right. So now
that's a
you leveled
thing.
Up. And in that sense, but I'm still a gamer.
Right.
And now you're looking at me like this dude on the couch playing games.
And it's immature.
And you view it when before it wasn't. That was our similarity. Yeah. But now your growth have taken you to a different place. And now we're no longer, I'll just use it compatible for what it is.
100%. And not only that, but now as you've grown, you have surrounded yourself with people, like-minded people like right? So now who you connect with and what you connect with doesn't look like the person that you have at home. Very scary.
So
very scary, because I also feel like that's the root of infidelity, right? And I think that it's also one of the reasons why it's so important to try to connect with your partner as they grow. Become a part of it. Like even me, you watch me go from not going to Fashion Week or barely being invited to being invited in Paris or sitting front row, right? And ask him whether he wants to go or not. I ask you to come with me. I ask him to be a part of it because I want you to be a part of these journeys with me. Like he'll tell you more often than not, I ask you to be a part of my world. Like I want you to be a part of my world. I don't ever want you to feel isolated, and I never want to feel isolated, right? So I think that even if it was just like, I decided I wanted to be a lawyer, right? Like I do want to be able to talk to you and invite you into those conversations, because I never want to feel that as I'm growing, right? And let's say in a positive way that you're not a part of that, because now you're connected to people, outside of your relationships more than you're connected to your partner at home. And it's like, it's not to say if I'm studying law, you're studying law too. But like, for instance, you have a fitness company, and no, I'm not a trainer or I can't train, but I've, I'm not going to say inserted myself, because that sounds, unwanted to, but I'm a part of it with you every day in the business, in the nitty gritty of it. And I think that's important, because I never want to feel isolated from anything that you have going on. I never want to feel like, okay, like I can't chime in. I can't have an opinion. I can't be a part of it. And I never want you to feel that way, vice versa. So I think that as you're growing, it's important to include your partner in the ways that you're growing in, right? I think that it invites your partner, and it allows them to feel a part of your world, and vice versa. I think it's important and it's healthy, right? And it stops you from, just, you're always going to connect with other people, but it's important that you still maintain that connection with your partner if you want the relationship, because it can be the root of division.
Gotcha. Our time is coming to an end.
Oh, yeah.
But just to close out, I think it's definitely a tough topic. How do you work through these changes and growth? I think communication, letting your partner how you feel, letting them what you like, don't dislike, try to come to some type of what's the word we always
So I think that's when it pertains to change. I think when it comes to growth, it's inviting your partner into your new experiences, right? Like, and allowing them to become a part of them rather than isolating them.
That's another way to try to work through it. But then sometimes even working through it, even through the communication, even through the compromise, it might still not work because sometimes you're growing too far apart.
Right. But that's assuming that's change, not growth. Because growth is positive.
But it don't matter. Like I just talked about the growth where you're now into business and I'm still a gamer.
Yeah.
But now we don't align. You're looking at me. So
maybe we could start a gaming business.
Maybe. That's it again. But sometimes, like I said, understand that sometimes it might not work. It don't always work through. That's the reality of it. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts. That one is gonna be that's a tough one, man. I think it's no real clear definition or clear line to answer that question.
Yeah.
But communication. Well, take us out.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in to Couples Chronicles with
your boy Lloyd
and Afiya. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share.
See you guys next time. Peace.